into the blog and recreate that later maybe. And maybe I can put it. Okay, that's good. It's the books in the background and everything. Okay.
It looks like I'm smart.
Yeah, that's right. Do you ever watch Father Barron? He's
Yeah.
and he
I
always.
was supposed to meet him the other day.
Oh, really?
He was out here, but he was up in Ojai, and I just couldn't go that far.
Oh, yeah, because he does little like 5-10 minute videos,
Yeah.
and he has like his library in his background.
Right.
And he does it, and I just love it. I watch every one of his little clips. Okay, so we'll just get started. So, Father, if you could just please tell me your name and your position here at the parish.
I'm Father Dave Heaney, and I'm the pastor here at St. Paschal Baylon Catholic Church in Thousand Oaks, California.
Great. Okay.
I've been pastor for 12 years.
Okay, great. And the first question I have for you is, what historical events point to the truth embodied in the Catholic Church? Maybe one or two, just whatever you can think of.
I think there is no Catholic Church if there is no Jesus Christ. And archaeology happens to be a hobby of mine, and I actually go to Israel every year on an archaeological tour. And so what's interesting to us is, what is the archaeological evidence that biblical stories, especially in the New Testament, occurred, and that the person of Jesus actually existed. And I'm happy to say that there is virtually no archaeological dispute that there was a Jesus of Nazareth who was called the Messiah. At those days, Messiah didn't necessarily mean that you were divine. A Messiah could be a political Messiah or a military Messiah. The whole point of a Messiah was that you would get rid of the Romans. Okay. That was the whole reason why people were looking for a Messiah, was to answer this problem: how do we get rid of Rome? Because they were a military and political dictatorship. So, but down through the ages, really there's been no dispute that there actually was a physical person named Jesus of Nazareth who was considered a Messiah by a large number of people. Whether he was the Son of God and divine cannot be proven in any way. That's always a matter of faith. So I think the main thing there is that we can very reliably say that this person of Jesus actually existed.
Great. Okay. And my second question is, how can reason be used to prove the Catholic Church contains the fullness of the truth?
Well, it's actually a tenet of the Catholic faith that faith must be reasonable. So we take actually very little on faith, because we believe that we were created by God with a brain, and that functions in a kind of a logical, rational, reasonable way. And so it wouldn't make any sense for God to create us with this capacity if it wasn't to be used. And so it's very central to the Catholic faith that all of our beliefs really have to run the test of reason and be rational and have a certain internal logic to them. They can't be counter to each other, because we believe that when we talk about God as the Logos, that's a Greek word, and it's a way of saying that God is reasonable, that God doesn't do things against his own nature, that God is actually bound by reason.
Okay, great. Okay, and then my last question is, do you think modern society distorts history in order to discredit the Church? And if you do, maybe how?
Absolutely. Basically, if there's a segment of society that espouses a certain position, and the Catholic Church is the opposite, then that group is going to denigrate the Church. For instance, there was an unfortunate time earlier. It's not so much now, but there was an unfortunate time earlier when, right after the Protestant Reformation, the Catholic Church and the Protestant Church kind of went to their different corners, and were kind of attacking each other. And if people could find something in Catholic history that was objectionable, maybe the Inquisition or Galileo, it would be exaggerated, to cast aspersions on the Church. And I'm sure the Catholic Church did the same. Today, the issue is not so much theology or doctrine, but morality. So if modern society today, if there's a segment in modern society today that wants free access to abortion or same-sex marriage or any of these kind of hot-button issues right now, the one group that is in opposition to that is the Catholic Church, and so they will do everything they can to attack the church. So it's not a big shock or surprise that if you are espousing a position and here's a large institution that's opposing you, you will do whatever you can to harm that institution so that you can get your position forward.
Great. Okay. Thank you.
Did I pass the audition?
Yes.